Hello and welcome to New Mexico Rising. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week I try to bring people from across the country to talk to me about things we could do right here in your neighborhood. If you actually want to be on the show, just email me. That's newmexicorising@gmail.com. On this week's show, we got this.
So we're proud to announce that Motor Trend's 2025 SUV of the year is...
All of that and more right here on New Mexico Rising. So when was the last time you had a really good night's sleep? If you're asking me, it's been a very long time. I kind of toss and turn like a rotisserie chicken. Whether it's a snoring partner, tomorrow's to-do list just kind of running through your head, all of the terrible things that happened earlier in the day, general aches and pains, statistics show that more than a third of adults aren't really getting the rest that they need. So today we've got clinical neuroscientist Dr. Caroline Leaf with us to share some insights on how we can improve the quality of our sleep, especially as the seasons change. Dr. Leaf, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you.
Okay, so what are some of the main reasons people try to, I guess they struggle trying to fall asleep, stay asleep throughout the night?
Well, one of the main, and as you said, it's such a common thing. One of the main things, though, which is great to know because it's manageable, is your mind. Your mind is not your brain. Your mind actually controls the brain and the body. And so the brain and the body respond to the mind. So if our mind is all messy, that messes up the neurophysiology in the mind-brain-body network, and that then disrupts sleep, falling asleep, waking up, not being able to go back to sleep. So mind management is the key thing and becomes essential in helping us sleep and stopping the rotisserie chicken.
All right. There's something called the white bear effect. What is that? How can that affect our thoughts and our sleep and keep us up all night?
So whatever we think about the most is growing. And whatever we're told to not think about, we tend to think about. And so the white bear effect is a psychological concept for when you're told, don't think about that, you will think about that. Don't think about the white bear, you think about the white bear. It's the same thing with sleep. If you're reading all the time about what can happen if you don't sleep, that becomes the white bear. And then you're lying in bed at night and you're sleeping and you think, oh, I mustn't think about the fact that I can't sleep, or I can't sleep, and the rotisserie chicken white bear effect starts happening. You've got a new one now, rotisserie chicken. That's going to then disrupt the neurophysiology and it's going to affect your sleep. So what you want to do is turn that on its head, and you want to basically embrace the sleeplessness so that you say, oh, this is great. I can't sleep. This is great. Totally different viewpoint. But as soon as you do that, you start shifting your neurophysiology. You start giving yourself control because your brain and body will do what your mind tells it to do. So if you get your mind under control and not thinking constantly about the negative, you can then shift it and think about, oh, well, I can't sleep, I can do this, I can do that, I can watch that movie, I can relax. Because as you do that, as you relax more, you calm down your neurophysiology, you rewire your networks. It takes about 63 days. Each day you'll feel better. But you then are wiring in and enabling yourself to find your unique way that is going to help you sleep best.
All right, I'm going to go back to the white bear effect for a split second because it just thought of, I'm going on a tangent here. I like to play, instead of slug bug in a car, I say slug motorcycle, so I can be a little more aware of motorcycles by using the white bear effect to my advantage, by noticing more motorcycles on the road so I don't accidentally hit them. All right, back to the sleep stuff. I just want to throw that in for people that have like a little tip at home. So what simple lifestyle changes can people make to help with insomnia and get better sleep?
Well, priority is to manage one's mind. And so the way you manage your mind is by using your mind to rewire the networks. And you can do that with a system that I call the neurocycle system, which is a 5-step system that helps you to redirect. So that's the one thing we can do, and I can explain it in a moment. The other thing is that we need to look at what we're sleeping on. That is so important because if you are sleeping on something that's disrupting your whole neurophysiology as well, that's going to be a problem. So, for example, the Serta Perfect Sleeper X is amazing for comfort. And if you move around a lot, or your partner moves around a lot, then something like the Beauty Rest is a coil system that absorbs energy and transfers the motion, so that doesn't wake you up. Or maybe you've got some aches and pains, or you want to have a really relaxing, comfortable sleep, then the adaptive foam of Tuft & Needle is a great thing. But then also we want to, it's mind and mattress, so we want to have our mind under control too. So practicing using your mind management is really important. I can explain that if you'd like.
I'm reading here that it says a good night's sleep actually starts in the morning. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely, and this is exactly links into that. So I can explain the mind management with linking in the morning. So when you wake up, the way you set your the whole neurophysiology for the day is dependent on, it's going to influence the night's sleep. So if you start in a bad mood, start getting out the wrong side of the bed, it keeps on going. And that then you get into the hustle culture, one thing after another, and that just creates more and more mess. So by the time you go to bed, you're kind of an explosion waiting to happen. So if you can take 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, that can help tremendously to just to help you to get the day under control. And using these 5 steps, you can actually do that. You can get your mind under control. And the more you practice it, the more you actually learn to get your mind under control really quickly. So those 5 steps, if you want, I can share them quickly with your listeners and viewers.
Yeah, please do.
The first step is so the first step is, and this is directed neuroplasticity. So these 5 steps are doing this amazing science. You're actually driving the direction of the changes that are happening in your brain and your body, which are changing anyway, but you now drive the process, which will then help you sleep better. So you want to gather awareness in the moment. You sit down, how am I feeling now? Where am I feeling this in my body? How's it affecting my perspective? That's the first step. So use 3 sentences, gather awareness. Then you reflect on that. Why? Why am I thinking this? Why have I got this thought? Why is this happening? A little bit of, just don't have to solve it all. Just give a little bit of an answer. And then just third step, whatever this generates, do a mind storm. Whatever thoughts pop up in addition to that, that's going to drag things up from our unconscious mind linked to what you've just worked on that are affecting your sleep. So things pop up that seem unrelated, but they somehow are related. So the 4th step is to try and find that pattern and see what's going on and try and shift your perspective. This has happened. This is going on. What can I do about this? And then 5th step is some sort of action step that will get you through the day, if it's during the day as you prepare for the night. As you practice that, then at nighttime, you can use that really quickly, those 5 steps to bring you back under control.
I feel like I'm being called out over and over again in this interview. At least we're learning something here. All right. Finally, where can we go for more information about what we talked about today and maybe get some more tips and tricks to help get better sleep?
Absolutely. You can go to certa.com, beautyrest.com, and tuftandneedle.com.
All right. Watch out for motorcycles. Be mindful. Get better sleep. Stop rolling around like a rotisserie chicken. Dr. Leaf, you saved us today.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ever wonder how small business can grow into a national powerhouse? Well, today's guest is a living example. WSS, a national leader in sneakers and apparel, started at a swap meet in Los Angeles. Now the company has over 140 nationwide stores. Joining us today is Blanca Gonzalez, the first Latina general manager and senior vice president of WSS. She's here to share her personal journey and how the company's incredible success story. Blanca, welcome.
Hi, Abby. It's such an honor to be with all of you here today. Thank you for the invitation.
Blanca, can you tell us how you got your start in retail?
Yes, I always say I started when I was very young. I started when I was 5. I loved making clothes, for my Barbies. My mom was a seamstress, did retail at a young age, and then had the honor to work also with a huge company, Nike, for over, almost close to 20 years. Did incredible work there, and spent some time also in Mexico. And then, WSS was my account when I was at Nike as a general manager here in Los Angeles. And I also was that little girl that shopped WSS. So I understand how important WSS is for the communities that we serve. Like you said, we started here, our humble beginnings in Los Angeles in the swap meets. Who doesn't shop in the swap meets, right? And then we started to grow, and now we're, over 140 doors, and now we're, from starting in California to Texas to Florida to Miami, Nevada, Arizona. So it's incredible to see the growth and incredible to, lead this organization forward.
And where did your journey begin?
I started, when I was young when I was 5, like I said, loved product, worked a little bit in Nike, did some time there, and then, came to really lead this organization forward the past year.
And after a long career at Nike, what was it like to be appointed general manager and senior vice president of WSS?
It was a true honor. Like I said, I was a little girl that shopped at WSS when I was young, so I know how meaningful WSS is, providing the best access and the best product and brands to our communities. We have from, Nike, Adidas, the Jordans. So just incredible to be able to, lead this organization because it's very meaningful to me and in our communities that we serve.
And can you give us a bit of history and tell us how this company continues to serve the local Hispanic communities and customers like across the country?
Yeah, so like I said, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary. We kicked it off this September, which is super meaningful. We provide, the best products and the best, deals, best values always for our families because we all know we need to stretch our dollars. And then we also do incredible activations. Like, right now we have our anniversary tour going to 40, key locations in all the markets, and continue to celebrate, with our communities, providing, great things, and best deals and best products.
And since it's the 40th anniversary, are you doing anything special like promotions or any other collections?
Yeah, so we have some incredible collections to celebrate the 40th anniversary. To kick it off, we have some great collaborations with Dickies, Pro Club, which also started in the swap meets. It's a great, incredible apparel collection that celebrates our 40th anniversary. We also have some great product, with Adidas. Everybody loves sneakers. Right now, everyone's wearing the Campus. So we have a campus collaboration with Adidas. And then we also like to celebrate, important cultural moments for the Latino community. We have some great product for Dia de los Muertos with Puma and Adidas. So, a lot of great, great collaborations and deals for all of you guys to come and shop with us.
And where can our viewers go to learn more?
Yeah, definitely. Just to, please come to shopwss.com. Also, come to our stores, your local stores. We'll provide great value for the families. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Blanca.
Thank you, Abby.
When it comes to health, most people think about heart health, but vascular health is just as important, especially for older adults or those with conditions like high blood pressure or a history of smoking. Here to share why keeping veins healthy is so vital and what we can do to prevent vascular disease is Dr. William Schutez, a vascular surgeon and a board member of the Society of Vascular Surgery. Welcome.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing great. You're here to talk about vascular health, which a lot of people don't know about. Can you explain what it is and why it's so important?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. So, vascular health may be one of the most important issues that you've never heard of or never thought of. In fact, we did a recent survey and found that 1 out of 3 people that are at risk for vascular problems have never even heard of this condition. So everybody knows about the heart and how important the heart is to keeping our body alive and pumping the blood, but the blood has to get from the heart to the organs in our body somehow, right? Well, it's the blood vessels that take them there, the arteries and the veins and the capillaries. This is a highway system that's 60,000 mile long, moving that blood throughout our body to help its organs function properly. And of course, just like our highway system, blood vessels get sick too. They get damaged. There's wear and tear. There's other things that happen to them where they break down, they get blocked, they leak. And so it's critical that we maintain the health of our blood vessels so that our organs in our body can function properly. And, when our blood vessels do break down in really bad ways, terrible things happen. Things like stroke, heart attack, kidney failure, amputation, even death. So we've started this campaign, Your Highway to Health, to really raise awareness and inform the public about their circulatory system, their vascular system, their blood vessels, and let them understand how important it is to keep your blood vessels healthy. So the best way to do that is to start early. Baby boomers have hit that critical point in their life where all kinds of things are starting to happen to their bodies as they age. And that's why so many people are at risk for blood vessel problems right now, is because of all the wear and tear over the years. And then when you layer on top of that many Americans have problems with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and there's many that still smoke. All of those things do tremendous harm to our blood vessels and damage them even further. So if you have any of these conditions, if you're at that age, it's time to start having a conversation with your doctor about your blood vessels. Do I have blood vessel disease? Are my blood vessels healthy? How do I know? Should I see a vascular surgeon? You know, vascular surgeons are like the primary care doctors for the blood vessel system. We take care of everything from early diagnosis, early management with lifestyle changes and medications, long-term monitoring and surveillance. We do imaging tests to look at the blood vessels and determine, are they healthy, are they diseased, and if so, how much? And if treatments are necessary, we can provide all of the treatments that are currently available. Balloons, angioplasty, stents, roto-rooters, and if needed, we can do surgery on the blood vessels to either bypass them or replace them or repair them. So start thinking about your blood vessel health. And a good place to start is to go to yourvascularhealth.org, yourvascularhealth.org. That's a new website that we've launched just for patients to learn about their blood vessels, learn about how to keep their blood vessels healthy, learn how to find out if their blood vessels may not be healthy, as well as what treatments are available if that should be necessary and what those treatments look like. You can also find a vascular surgeon on that website. It has a find a specialist link that you can click on, put in your information, and it will direct you to a Society for Vascular Surgeon member near you that you can contact for a consultation.
Appreciate you joining us today.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Endometrial cancer is something many women might not think about until it happens to them. But early detection and advocacy can make all the difference. So today, we're joined by Kristin Foreman, a survivor who's sharing her story to inspire others, and Dr. Sharon Lewin, a leading gynecologic oncologist, here to discuss the latest in treatment and diagnosis. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Good morning. Doing well, thank you.
All right, Kristin, can you start by sharing the symptoms you experienced kind of before your diagnosis of endometrial cancer?
Prior to my diagnosis, the primary symptoms that I was experiencing were bloating, spotting in between my menstrual cycles, and extreme fatigue.
And what has your journey been like since you've been diagnosed, and how do you advocate for yourself kind of during your treatment?
Since my diagnosis, I always say that my journey is continuous, it's ongoing. Even post-diagnosis, what I do is I just try to make sure that I continue to ensure that my providers are aware of any changes and to not take any symptoms lightly, or just to make sure that my care team is aware.
And I know it's an emotionally and personal experience. What advice would you have for others that are kind of facing a similar diagnosis?
I'd like to reiterate and just to encourage women that may have some concerns or similar symptoms to definitely inform their physicians of these symptoms and to become comfortable with understanding that you can get a second opinion if you feel like your symptoms are being minimized. That is the best means of advocacy that I would definitely encourage.
And Dr. Lewin, for those who don't know, can you explain what endometrial cancer is and why early detection is so critical?
So the endometrium is the lining of the uterus. It's one form of uterine cancer. It's actually the most common form of gynecologic cancer or cancer of the reproductive organs. It's the most common form of gynecologic cancer that we see in the United States. Over 61,000 women will be diagnosed this year. Unfortunately, though, we see that it is now the most fatal form of gynecologic cancer. Most women who are diagnosed are actually postmenopausal, so they may have some bleeding after menopause or discharge. But in women like Kristin, for example, who are quite young, they may just have spotting in between their periods, some change in their menstrual cycles. So it's just very important for women to really be aware of any change in their bodies and really have that evaluated right away.
So how is advanced or recurring endometrial cancer treated today, and what should people know about some of these latest developments?
So immunotherapy, or a medication that works on a patient's immune system, has actually been one important advance that's been FDA approved for women with advanced endometrial cancer. So endometrial cancer that's actually spread outside of the uterus or actually come back following initial treatment. There's been one medication by the name of dostarlimab or Jemperli that's been approved by the FDA in combination with our standard chemotherapy drugs known as carboplatin and paclitaxel. This combination, followed by immunotherapy or dostarlimab maintenance, has really improved outcomes for women with newly diagnosed advanced endometrial cancer or recurrent endometrial cancer, and has actually been quite a game changer for these women. We have to note that immunotherapy does have some unique and often serious side effects, so it's important for women to talk to their doctors about their past medical history and if they are experiencing any of these side effects. But we're happy that our field has now placed a lot of emphasis on clinical trials and research to really make advances in this disease.
Dr. Lewin, Kristin, thanks for joining me this morning. Where can we go for more information on this?
So women can definitely speak to their gynecologic oncologists. They can also go to websites like the Society of GYN Oncology, the Foundation for Women's Cancers. There are many resources that can help women.
Thank you, too, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Motor Trend's SUV of the Year is a huge honor in the auto world. And today, we're lucky enough to have Ed Loh, the head of editorial for Motor Trend, joining us to reveal which SUV took home the title for 2025. Ed is here to break it down and tell us what this means for buyers and what's shaping the auto industry this year. Ed, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's start with the big news. What is Motor Trend's 2025 SUV of the Year?
So we're proud to announce that Motor Trend's 2025 SUV of the Year is the Lincoln Nautilus. And against our awards, 6 key criteria, this thing just absolutely nailed each one. Obviously, you can see it's a beautiful vehicle, aviation-inspired exterior styling. But what's really got it going on is the interior. Very luxurious 5-passenger SUV that's loaded with technology. So up front, there's this 48-inch customizable panoramic screen. It spans the dashboard under the windshield, and it's got everything you'd want. It's got all the apps. It's got the Google Assistant. It's got Amazon Alexa. You can get Siri on board because this system works with both Apple iPhone and Android phones. So all the tech is on board. But there's also a great fuel efficiency story here. There's a hybrid version of this Nautilus that gets up to 31 miles per gallon. And it's a tremendously safe vehicle. So the Lincoln Nautilus has the industry's highest safety rating. It's IIHS TSP Plus certified. And you can get all of this at a base price of $52,000. So a tremendous value story here as well. That's why it's Motor Trend's 2025 SUV of the Year.
And you've been following the industry for years. So what do you love most about this year's winning SUV?
So I really love how cohesive everything is. You know, we review a lot of cars. We test, hundreds of cars a year. They all have screens. They all have ways to connect your phone. But the Lincoln team really did a fantastic job of incorporating all this technology in a way that's really seamless and very useful and very elegant. And that's just on the tech side. They also spent a lot of time working out the details on all the hardware, like the seats, for instance, 24-way adjustable. You can get them covered in this beautiful Venetian red leather with white piping. Just absolutely gorgeous and very comfortable, not just the front seats, but the rear seats. It's really like this spa on wheels. And I'm not kidding. Like, you can get an optional 28-speaker Ravel audio system and even some aromatherapy, if you can believe it. The Lincoln team will deliver 3 digital scents, and there's an option for 4 more, so the car can smell as lovely as you'd want it to. So just a very comprehensive approach to the Lincoln Nautilus.
And what are some of the biggest automotive trends that you're seeing for 2025 that buyers should keep an eye on?
Well, everybody's talking about EVs and whether sales are up and whether sales are down. And hybrids seem to be coming back in a way. Again, it's hybrids like this Lincoln Nautilus that I can think are getting a lot of people's attention. But there's one particular type that I think folks should focus on, which are EREVs. These are extended range electric vehicles, and they basically deliver the best of both worlds. They're fundamentally electric vehicles, but they have a gas engine on board that acts as a range extender. So you get all the benefits of an EV, smoothness, quietness, but with the additional convenience and range of a gas vehicle. So look for EREVs coming in 2025 to large trucks and some SUVs.
And with the car and truck awards coming up, can you give us a hint about what's coming up next?
Well, I wish I could tell you the winners, but we're going to make those announcements later. We're going to do the Car of the Year announcement in November and then Truck of the Year in about mid-December. And truck in particular, very competitive. We have all the big names: Tesla Cybertruck, Ram 1500, Ford Ranger, Toyota Tacoma, Chevy Silverado EV. Americans love pickup trucks. We know this. Very competitive program. So look for that announcement. Again, mid-December. You can go to motortrend.com to find more information on that, as well as our winner for our 2025 SUV of the year, the Lincoln Nautilus.
I want to thank you for joining us today, Ed.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
As flu season ramps up, it's important to remember that flu can be much more dangerous than most people realize. We're joined today by Dr. Leah Smith, a pharmacist and vaccine educator from GSK, who's here to talk about the risk and why it's so important to get vaccinated. Welcome, Dr. Smith.
Thanks so much for having me.
Dr. Smith, what is the flu and who should be most concerned about catching it?
That's a really good question. I'm going to start with the basics. So really simply, the flu is a very contagious respiratory illness that's caused by flu or influenza, also known as influenza viruses. And these viruses can infect your nose, they can infect your throat or your lungs, and they're spread through little tiny droplets made when someone who has the flu coughs, sneezes, or even when they talk. And because it is so contagious, someone with the flu can actually spread it before even showing any symptoms. As far as who's most at risk, literally anyone can get sick from the flu, and serious flu-related complications can happen at any age. But there are certain groups of people who are at higher risk for developing some of those flu-related complications. And that includes people who are 65 and older, people who have chronic health conditions like asthma, diabetes, or heart disease, pregnant people, and young children.
There are a lot of misconceptions around the flu vaccine. Can you clear some of those up?
Yeah, there really are. I'd say there are a lot, but the one that I get the most often, and literally every year, is that people seem to think that you can get the flu when you get the flu vaccine, like from the flu vaccine. And that's simply not true. And that's because available vaccines, that the shots that you get in your arms, they're made from either inactivated flu viruses, which means that they are no longer infectious, or they're made from really small parts of the flu virus that your immune system recognizes as the flu. So again, you cannot get the flu from that. Now, there is a nasal vaccine that does contain live flu virus, but again, that flu virus has been altered so that it cannot cause you to get the flu. So I just want to dispel that common myth that kind of circulates every year that is not true.
And for viewers who want to learn more, where can they go to get information about the flu and vaccines?
Yeah, really good question. So there is a ton of information available on the flu and about flu prevention at cdc.gov/flu. You can even find out about flu, COVID, and RSV circulation in your particular state on that website as well.
Thanks for joining us today, Dr. Smith.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for having me and discussing this very important topic.
And that is it for New Mexico Rising. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. If you want to get some tickets to Red One, all you got to do is go to our website, newmexicorising.com, and fill out the form, because we're giving out a family 4-pack of passes to the advanced screening of Red One right here in Albuquerque. Follow our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. That is at NM Rising. And until next week, that was New Mexico Rising.